Good morning. In this video, I'm going to talking about that the way we are going to implement the concept of different security policies inside of the organization with the help of the standard applicable standards. The first one, I'm going to talking about security blueprint. Actually, the security blueprint is the basis for a design, selection, and implementation of all the security programs and security program elements, which includes the maintenance, that implementation of the policy and its maintenance, current policy management, risk assessment strategies, and providing the proper information to the employees through education and training programs. And also we have to control whatever the technologies we are implemented and continuously monitor the current policy management for security. So, security blueprint is always to define by the top of the management. It means that only the top level of the management must be only implement for this security blueprint. Also, they must to define what is going to do it, what is the procedure they are going to do for securing the information. So then the security, when the blueprint defines the different kind of policies and to provide a proper training and education to that awareness to that employees, and also provide a different kind of controls, and also identifying the different kind of risk assessment, risk management systems. So already we know that the risk management is the concept of risk identification, assessment, and control. So that we are going to identify the major vulnerability and try to rectify those. Rectify those vulnerabilities in order to reduce the risk which is associated for securing the information. So that with the security blueprint, the divided structure for overall view for securing the information. So that just you are going to define a framework. So that this a framework it defines that the overall information strategy for the organization, and also it provides a roadmap for whatever the changes we need to do in an organization in order to provide a security. So normally this means that risk assessment is one of the important factor. So that the risk assessment must be implemented in both a qualitative and a quantitative manner, along with the feasibility analysis and the cost benefits analysis also very important. Mean that. So if you are means that if you are defining for some kinds of security, so then the qualitative and the quantitative analysis is very important, and based on the also we need to talk about feasibility analysis along with the cost effective. Okay, so in the security, the major important way, means the major the possibilities we are going to provide with the help of policy. So that the policy must be scalable, and also it can be upgradable at any period of a time, and also it is a comprehensive plan. Means a comprehensive, so that we can meet at a dynamic to change the changes in the futures. There are different kind of framework which is defined by this definer. One is for in order to implement that information security blueprint for our organization. One is ISO 20000 series, NIST security model, IETF security architecture, and Visa International model. So out of these four, so the first means that the 1, 2, and 4th model is prescribed in our syllabus. Okay, so first of all, move on to that policy management. That is a policy concept that is called information security policy. The information security policy. So first of all, we must know what is policy. So policy is a plan, of course, of action used to convey the information from an organization seniors to those who make decision makers and take and perform their other duties. It means that policies are the organization law. It defines the acceptable and non-acceptable behavior in an organization. It is a very important. So always that every organization must have a set of policy for defining their acceptable and non-acceptable behaviors. It is considered about your the policies which is on that is defined by the organization, that it must to define that procedure for acceptable and non-acceptable. If you let us take IT industry, that means that the employees should not bring that other electronic devices other than mobile. That is a secondary storage devices inside of the company. So that is a one important procedure. One policy. So this is a policy. So that if it acceptable procedure means unacceptable procedure is won't bring any secondary storage devices inside of that organization. So always the policy also define what is the action we are going to use for procedure we are going to follow for conveying the information from the higher level to the lower levels high level to the lower level members. And the next one also we must know about what is standard also. So the policy to define acceptable and non-acceptable behavior. So the standard provides the default, the expanded description about the policy. So there are two types of standards normally we can follow. One is called as a de facto statute and a de jure. De facto means that it is an informal approach. Means that with the help of that informal approach, thus we are providing the information, policy details to the employee, and de jure standard means that we are following the formal approach for giving a description about that. And the next thing is every organization must have a vision, and as well as a strategic planning. Vision means that it is a written statement about for our organization goal. It means that it is a short-term goal. For example, if I'm going to plan that within 5 years, I want to be in a good position in IT industry. So this is called as a short-term goal. But in a vision goal, means that in my life or in my lifetime, I need to achieve this. So this is called as a long-term goal. So it must be defined as a mission. So mission always defined about your organization purpose, and the organization goal is defined in terms of business. And also we need to implement the different strategic planning for moving our organization towards its vision. Means that we are going to define this different kind of a method, strategic planning method for achieving your vision. But whenever you're going to, and a very, very important thing, so whenever you're going to implement the policy must support mission, vision, and strategic planning of other organization. The next one is security policy, so that it defines a set of rules and regulations, set of rules for acceptable and non-acceptable procedure for security, for protecting the organization assets. And the information security policy means we are going to provide a set of rules for production of information assets in an organization. It defines the general, it may be for any type of elements of your organization, it may be a hardware, it may be a software, data, procedure, or whatever may be. So maybe protecting for different kind of elements of organization. But here, the information security policy must define only the set of rules for the production of the information assets of information for protecting only the information. And the next thing, whenever you're going to define that the policy is more effective, and these are some of the basic constraints we must to follow that. One is distribution. It means that everyone in an organization must to know about the policy. And the next one is called a review. And once the review policy is implemented, and continuously we need to monitor about this behavior, and also if there is any changes in the policy, need to be upgradable. And next one is everyone must be to be an understanding. Also maybe possible if we can do with the complication also. And also we have to give an agreement to that every employee, they must to have agree about the acceptable and non-acceptable procedures. And also we have uniformly enforce this policy to all the members of the organization. So these are the 5 criteria need to be followed for implementing a policy in an organization. I repeat once again. One is, if you are going to say the policy is a very effective policy, in order to make this an effective, the policy must be distributed to everyone, and also it must be upgradable, and also it must be understanding that it is a comprehensible, and also that agreement, and also should be as uniformly enforced to the every members in an organization. And according to the standard of the NIST 814, there are 4 types of security policies. Information security policies are defined by the National Institute of Standard and Technology. That is called NIST, National Institute of Standard and Technology, defined the 4 types of policy. According to the standard NIST 814. One is enterprise information security. Second one, issue specific policy. Next one, system specific security policy, and program specific security policy. So these are the 4 types of policies. It will be defined by this NIST for implementation of policies in an organization. Okay, the first one, that is called EISP, that is called Enterprise Information Security Policy. Normally the EISP, this is an enterprise, it mainly to focus on your entire organization, the whole organization, so that it must support the vision and as well as the strategic planning for the damage of planning of an organization. And also it will be referred as a general security policy, or maybe organization security policy, or maybe IT security policy, or maybe we call it information security policy. means that this EISP also to be called as like a GSP or maybe organization security policy or maybe IT security policy or information security policy. And we know that also it must support that strategic planning also, so that we need to define the strategic direction in order to meet our goals. And this is called, it will be implemented by only the top level management. And so normally that the size of this enterprise policy must be 2 to 10 pages. And this will be defined for, this policy must be defined for entire organization. So there is the maximum content of that enterprise policy must be 2 to 10 pages. And if there is only we have to make an upgradation of this ESP policy if there is a changes on the strategic direction. It means that if there is any changes on the vision and mission, and there is a possibility we have to update this ESP. And also this ESP provides a guidance for development and implementation and management of a security program for entire organization. And so according to this rule of EISP, so we should define a different responsibility for every users and employees of the organization. So based on the responsibility that the policy must be implemented. So the different elements are, it defines on the corporate and as well as a philosophy and a security rule, and also define a responsibility. I mean that this ESP for which organization you are going to apply, and you are going to apply it with a different rule for every security information security, and the next one is the responsibility of the every individuals. So this is called ESP. So ESP will mainly focus on enterprises, so that it must support direction, vision and vision, and also the strategic planning. So that if there is only changes on the direction, the changes modify this ESP when there is a changes on the strategic direction. So strategic direction, and the size of your EASP must be as 2 to 10 pages. So because the policy will be implemented for the entire organization. So next one is issue specific policy. So normally this issue specific policy to focus on the various process and the technologies involved in an organization. It means it mainly to focus on individual tasks. For example, as you are the student, so your task is you need to read a particular subjects. So that so here I'm going to define the policy for reading the particular subject. For example, if you are taken a subject is information security management, information security. So that I need to define some set of a policy. I need to define a set of policy. I need to define a set of policy for implementation of this. So this issue specific, so that this issue specific policy to mainly to focus on the one part of the organization. It is not covering for the entire organization. The EASP cover entire organization, so that it mainly to focus on business and business. But this issue specific focus only on that either the particular technology or the particular process to support your this securities. So that the different areas for the coverage is technology, and the area which is needed for the frequent updations of information, and the next one is organization on the specific issue. So these are the areas this ISSP will be applicable, and there are different kind of the documents need to be maintained, prepared and maintained for implementation of this issue specific security policy. One is called independent ISSP document. It means that for every issue we need to maintain a separate documentation for issue. And next one is a simple comprehensive ISS policy. This document to contain the overall issue details for your entire the entire process. And the next one is called modular ISSP documents. Actually, it consists of the issue and what is the policy need to be supported, and what is the type of administration details we need, and for maintaining this specific policy. And also that if the organization is fails to cover these issues, then it leads to the poor distribution of the policy and management and enforcement. So that automatically there is a loopholes will be created for implementation of a security. So just I can recall once again, this issue-specific security policy to mainly to focus on the particular area. So that the area means that it may be a technology or it may be a process involved inside of the every organization. So that the following areas need to be covered by this ISSP. One is the technology which is used in an organization, frequent updation, the results, the frequent updation of your information later, and the next one is organization position on a specific issue. So there are different kind of documents need to be maintained for every issue. There is a separate document need to be maintained, and all this issue means the abstract details of your individual, all your issue details maintained in one document. That is called single comprehensive ISSP document. And the next one is this modular ISSP document. It includes issue along with what is the policy to be supported for this issue. And next one, what are the administrative details needed to in order to maintain this space, in order to make this issue to be clear. And if proper planning is not implemented, then automatically it leads to the poor policy distribution and management and enforcements. Okay, so the next one is called as a system specific policy, that is called SysSP. Actually, it provides us different kind of standard or procedures for configuring or maintaining the system. It means that if we are going to change anything on that organization, and we are going to talking about what is that policy we are going to maintain. So there are two categories. One is called managerial. There is a two specific. One is a managerial guidance. Another one is called technical specification, because you are going to configure or maintain the systems. You are going to provide the standard or procedure for configuration. Configure means implementing at the starting. So the first for management, it provides the guidelines for the management for the implementation of the technology, and it defines the behavior of the people in the organization. So normally this managerial guidance will be developed at the time of ISSP. That is called the issue specific policy, security policy. And the next one is for this is for management, and next one is for technical specification, because we are going to implement the system, so that we are going to define some technical specification. One is for it defines this technical specification for the management of the technology. So they define that a responsibility for a system administrator, so that there are different types of ways that it can be implemented with the help of access control list, or maybe it might be a configuration rules. That means access control list means that it defined in terms of two-dimensional matrices. Means the capability it defines the access permission for other individuals. Means that it provides the information about the privileges for accessing the information for every user in an organization. And the next one is a configuration rule policy. Actually, it is specifically the instruction. That means that if the data for this configuration rule policy defines that if the data is received to that individual, and it defines the set of actions need to be defined once the information is received for the particular member. So these are the different ways that the policies are maintained, and the fourth one is for a program-specific security policy. It depends on that individual program. So it is similar to that this system-specific policies. Okay, so then I will move on to the next one, that is called policy management. Actually, we know the policy is very important. It defines the acceptable and the non-acceptable behavior in an organization. So that once it is implemented, then we are going to monitor it for violation or maybe updation if anything. So that the policies are living document. Yeah, exactly. It is still a living document. It should be managed and measured as they constantly changes and grow. It is very, very important. The management of the policy is very, very important. So that it may be nurtured and as well as managed constantly. We need to upgrade it once the organization grows. There are five, so in order to manage the policy, there are 5 steps to be implemented. One is we are going to define that responsibility for every individual. So for creation, revision, distribution, and storage of the policy, and also that there is a suggestion, means that they must have a clear identifying the suggestions for the policy. and also that we have to provide the proper schedule of reviews for upgradation of the policy in order for accuracy and all the changes reflected in the policy, and review of procedure and practices. So that it means that management, that means that especially for the administrator, need to implement the policy and must implement the policy and follow those practices in order to provide a security. And next one, so normally this policy must be publicly accessible to everyone, and also that it define the what is a revision date in order to avoid the confusion. And the next one, automatic policy management. That means that if there is any suggestion, it will be received, then automatically it will be upgraded, so that automatic policy management need to be implemented. So these are the 5 basic steps need to be followed. The basic procedure or basic characteristics need to be followed for managing the policy. One is for everyone as a responsible, and second one, we are going to review. Periodically we need to conduct a review in order to know about the current active status of the review. So this policy, and if there is any changes we need, then we need to upgrade it. And also we have to define review the procedure and practices which is need to follow for your policy implementation. And if there is any changes, we need to implement a policy, have a revision date in order to avoid the confusion. Because we are continuously upgraded, so that the recent policy must be available to the user for usage, so that everyone must users. Every user must to know about in order to avoid the confusion. Is called automatic. It's not according to the suggestions that see that. Policy determines changes that policy accept. Means is actually upgraded based on the base. So this is the way the policy must be implemented and reached. I can just overall once again the policy, regulation means rules and regulations. To provide there are 2 types of need to be defined. One is standard and default standard. And so default standard means it is an informal approach to be followed for policy, and for formal approach that is called default. And every organization vision, strategic planning, term goal, and mission means it's a long-term goal, and strategic planning need to be to implement vision. Security policy implemented. Once you have a security policy, must be disputed, review, and it is a comprehensive, and it is the agreement, and as well as uniformly it will be enforced to everyone. And there are 4 types of security policies based on for our entire organization: specific issue, specific application implementation, specific programs. So then for policy management, the policy is a living document, so that it be managed and nurtured, so that constantly upgraded for that according to the growth of the organization. So that we have to define the responsibility for the individual. So we need to conduct a review, periodical review, and we are going to provide a review of procedures and practices, and we are going to policy upgradation, policy and as well as a revision date if must be defined, and automated policy management also must be defined. Okay, so the next one is we already know that now. So initially, the blueprint is very important for implementation of the security design and implementation of the security policy system inside of the organization. So there are different kind of policy framework. Means a blueprint must be defined. That is called framework must be implemented. What is called ISO 27700 series, NIST, that is called National Institute for Standard and Technology Security Models, and IETF. And next one is called Visha International Model. So these are the different kind of the framework model need to be there is defined, so that according to the standard we are going to implement in our organization. So the first one, just I'm going to define IS, the small corrections here. So that here just I'm going to define about this ISO 17799 standard, ISO standards. So normally the goal of this ISO 70799, or maybe we call it a British standard 7799. So it provides some recommendations for implementation of the information security management for taking initiations and implementation or maintenance of security in their organization. And so it provides, it gives us some different type of security management practices and provide a confidence for the international organizations dealings. And normally, this is normally used, referenced, and often discussed model in information technology code for practices for information security management. It is a British standard. Normally, this is a normally review. I mean, it is referenced model. So normally it is adapted by for both ISO and as well as the International Electrotechnical Commission. Is called as ISO IEC, International Electrotechnical Commission 17799. And the outline on the major focus on this ISO 17799 is first of all mainly focus on organization security policy. Maybe it will define in terms of post policy management like enterprise security policy, EASP, or maybe system specific, or maybe it is issue specific, or maybe a program specific. And we are going to define that information means organization security infrastructure, means how that security is implemented from the top level to the subordinate level. And also we need to identify the asset classification under control. So you know that the asset is a very, very important. This asset is asset for every asset identification with the classification of asset is very, very important. So I think in the risk management we define that the identification of asset and we need to prioritize based on that assets. And the next one, the personal security is also very, very important. That means employment security. We discuss on employment security. And also the physical and environment security, focus on physical and environment security, and also it defines the communication and operational management. And if that is implemented in the concept of system network, so that it will focus on access control policies, defined in the form of access control list as well as configuration rules. And also, if there is any change, you want to implement anything, so that it is employment of a development and as well as the maintenance. And also the business continuity planning and the compliance. So this is the there are the coverage area of this ISO 17799 is focused on 10 concepts. One is organization security policy, organization security infrastructure, asset classification and control, personal security, physical and environmental security, and communication and operational management, system access control. It means that it provides in terms of system access control and as well as configuration rules. I means that ACM. That is defined in terms of two-dimensional matrix representation for the access privileges for every users, and the development and the maintenance of the system, and the business continuity planning, and as well as the compliance. So normally this ISO 70 means the British standard in terms of 7999 consists of 2 volumes, but this ISO IEC taken only the first 2 volumes of this British standard. So the main goal of this volume 1 is the way of, it provides the overview of your security, and also it provides on 127 controls over your 10 broad areas. So these are the 10 broad areas, so that it gives only 27 different type of controls need to be implemented for implementation of the security. And for the goal of the volume 2 of the British standard, the 7799 is the way we are going to implement this 127 elements, a different type of controls for implementation, which is defined under volume 1. But this ISO IEC, that's the International Standard Organization, and for International Electrotechnical Commission 17799 is how we are going to set up an information security management system, that is called ISMS. So that along with that, there is actually this ISO 17799 have some issues. One is called actually that this means that this ISO IEC 17799 it is not having any justification part, justification statement, information security procedure, and it lacks on necessary measurement precision or technical standard. It's not having any, it lack of measurements for implementation of technical standard. And next one, so actually we don't have any proper reason to believe the standard is more useful. And also that it is not complete because it only to focus on 10 broad areas and it define only 1.7 controls. So next one is This is British standard 1799 is a perceived to be means that it is prepared with more hurriedly so that that means that given that a tremendous impact on its adoption and means it does not provide any information on industry information security controls. It means that it mainly did not focus on that the information which is present in an organization for a control. So these are the some of the type of models normally we used for implementation of this security framework in an organization. So these are the some of the issues we have along with ISO IEC 17799. So that we move on to the next model that is called as NIST security model. So we'll discuss on next video. Thank you.